Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to get amazing entries into leverage positions. You can also use it for amazing buys for spot. The difference is, spot is just when you buy something like Bitcoin, Ethereum on exchange, and leverage is when you're basically holding a long or short position and betting that the price is going to go up or down. So I just got a bunch of amazing entries on a bunch of orders. So my favorite exchange is Bitunix. That's what I use. Affiliate link below if you want to trade. Legal pretty much everywhere. So I have a bunch of leverage positions long now open, and I'll show you how I got these good entries. So I have a Litecoin position up 6%. A lot of these positions were opened while I was sleeping. So it's a great thing, when you're trading, you want to always get a good entry and wait for the price to come down to your entry point and hopefully pick it up and get a nice bounce. So we're up 6% on Litecoin, 8.6% on Dogecoin, 7% on DOT, 12% on Fartcoin, and SUI we're up 6%, Bitcoin we're up 4%, and Ethereum we're up 3%. So I'll show you how I placed all these orders. I actually placed these orders yesterday morning, about 24 hours ago. I was actually expecting yesterday when the market to open to kind of dump down and pick up my orders, but it happened last night while we were sleeping. Market makers love to dump the price and liquidate traders, so you can use that to your advantage to get amazing entries. Again, affiliate link for Bitunix below if you want to try it. No KYC if you don't want to, and there is a bunch of you get nice advantages from using the affiliate link. So all right, let's go. Let's talk about what I'm doing here. So here's my orders. You can see Bitcoin, it came down. My entry is in blue. Ethereum came down, picked up my order. Now it bounced back up again. SUI, Litecoin, Fartcoin, DOT, and Doge. So how did I get these entries? What I did is I basically, another thing I'd like to use is some confluence with some other levels, right? So like DOT, for example, if we go on like the daily, DOT has been using this line of support right here. We've bounced off at 1, 2, 3, 4 times now. So this also gave me some confluence that we were also going to bounce from this level. So it was a good place to open an order. Now what I did is I just went to Google and I Googled the liquidation heat map, and you can see Binance. So I use the 24-hour, but obviously I did this 24 hours ago, so it's going to look a little bit different. So we can go down to like the 3-day and kind of show you how I place these orders. So we had this big dump from market makers. I was kind of assuming that they were going to come back and dump again and hit this price again. So you can basically just look for a lot of red. If I were to place it right now, I'd place an order at 110.630, for example. And you can also use this to close your orders. So if you, I guess you can't really see, but right here, there's a bunch of red on this sidebar here. So if I was to place an order right now, I would place it where this biggest amount of red is, but it's also close to the price. So right here, about 110.630 would be where I'd place it right now. I placed it back here and it got picked up already last night. So, and then if I wanted to close the order in the profit, I could just sell it right here at 113.850. Okay. So using the example of that one I was just looking at, which was DOT, for example. So this one picked right here. So if I go over here and we go to DOT is right here. So if I go to the 3-day, again, because I did this yesterday, but usually I use like the 24 or 48 hour. The 3 days is a good one as well. But I placed my order to pick it up at 3 point. What just happened? What just happened? Why did that happen? Okay, I don't know why. I think there's a button in my mouse that goes back or something that I must have hit there. But okay, let's try that again. So if I'm on DOT and we're on the 3-day, we had this big liquidation event already. So I placed my order down here in this area, the 3.9 area. Actually, it was right about here, 3.94. The darker the color, the more attracted the price will be to go there. Okay, so I placed my order right there last night. And then I woke up this morning, boom, I was in the profit because the market makers love to dump at like midnight Eastern Standard Time. I use Binance because they are the biggest market dumper that there is, and they're also the biggest exchange. So the most amount of people trade on Binance, allegedly. Some of the volume is from them. But anyways, so there you go. Picked up the order, and now we're back up in the profit. So now if I wanted to close this, I could say, all right, maybe I'll just close this trade at 4.1. The longer liquidation you use, the more you go down, the less likely your order is to get hit, but the better the entry, okay? So if I were using like the 1 month liquidation here, You can see it actually, the biggest amount of liquidity just got hit for DOT. Is that going to be the same for Bitcoin, for example? Maybe not. But if we go to 1 month, yeah, actually the biggest liquidation. So you can use like the 1 month if you want, and you could have put an order in back here when the price was up at 117,500, right? The price is definitely attracted to this huge area of liquidity. The next biggest liquidity to the downside, especially if I show you this, the red bar helps kind of show you which is the biggest one, but it's basically the darker the color. So the price at 108,900 is going to be attracted right now, but we also have liquidity up here at 118,800. So you can use these to kind of place your entries and exits when you're trading. Okay, so it's great for leverage. The better entry you get for leverage, the better off you are. For spot, it doesn't matter quite as much because you don't have to worry about getting liquidated or holding negative positions. Comfy in spot, as they say. But spot, it's also a great way just to get good just to get good prices on your purchasing when you are looking to purchase. Another thing you can use is the cryptocurrency liquidation max pain. These are all from CoinGlass. You just Google liquidation max pain. This will come up. And again, if you want to trade using like the 48-hour, so right now it says if I wanted to get a Bitcoin order to get filled, the max pain is down 1.5% at a price of 110,900. I don't know why that keeps happening. God, that's annoying. So there you go. And this is basically going to say that for the most amount of people to get hurt who are long, the price would go here, okay? In the 48-hour. Again, the further you move to the right, the bigger this number gets. So you can see for the 1 month, actually, the most pain is, what is this? So this is $166 million of pain if we go down 3%. Or 156. So it's actually more painful to go down 3% than it is to go up 6%. So right now there is more people long just in this last vicinity here. But again, if you go to like the 24-hour short, you would liquidate more people, right? So going up 0.5% liquidates 85 million. So you can see in the short term, it looks like we could probably go up and then maybe a little bit later we could come back down. However, as we go up, more people can open shorts and this can change over time, right? So this is another one that you can use. You can just search any cryptocurrency in here and you can find the max pain numbers. So this is a really good way to get entries into leverage trades. If you're leverage trading, it is quite risky, so please be careful. But it is a great way to get orders. I went to bed last night with not many orders. I woke up this morning and I was actually 1,600 in the profit. Now I'm only 1,300 in the profit, but we have a bunch of green orders. Now what I can do is I can just set my stop loss at break even if I want. If I want to ride these prices higher, I could close them right now. I could close a portion of my positions right now if I wanted to. So there's multiple different ways you can do it, but like right now, since the market has been so volatile with all the liquidations and stuff, sometimes I like to just set my stop loss at break even and just kind of push these trades up a little bit more and then close them. Or sometimes I'm just picking up my orders, waiting for a bounce, and then instantly closing them and just taking my profit and just continuing to roll small profits. Lately, I've been enjoying that a lot for leverage trading specifically. For spot holdings, I like to hold those for, sometimes years or even, months or weeks. But for leverage trades, you don't want to really hold those because you do have to pay funding rates, etc. I do use low leverage though. You can see all my trades for altcoins. I use 3x leverage because when you have a trade, you will see this funding rate right here. Okay. So every 8 hours, I believe it is 6 to 8 hours, you pay a percentage of your trade, right? So this is however big your trade is times your leverage multiplier. Okay. So, and when it's green, that means if you're long, you pay the fees. If you're short, you get paid fees for holding it. So this is kind of how they help to even out the market. But that's why I use lower leverage and I use small positions because I'm just trying to rack up a bunch of small trades and increase the size of my portfolio. So that's kind of my plan on how I like to leverage trade. You can just use this market manipulation and this heat map to basically get amazing entries, right? So, Litecoin, it just went right into the bull market support band, which is great support, and it's the 0.5 fib. So I had a bunch of confluence here that, there's liquidation levels here. There is the bull market support band, which is this white cloud of moving averages, and there's the 0.5 Fibonacci. So there was so much confluence here that I was pretty sure, almost 100% sure, that the price was going to come down in here. Obviously, I added this after this big liquidation spike. So usually what happens is you get this big wick to the downside, and then you will actually come back and kind of go through some more of this wick and pick up more orders. So you can see it actually perfectly picked up this order and then bounced right after it. So that was quite a good entry. Fartcoin, I had my entry a little bit lower originally, and it literally came down within like a fraction of a penny, went back up. Now it dipped, picked up my order, and is back in the profit yet again. Dogecoin, kind of the same thing. There was some moving averages here, so that was some good confluence. And also we had this wick, and as you can see, this big dump here, it clears out a lot of orders on the order book. So then sometimes the price will come back and retest the bottom of the wick. I like to say it'll take probably 3/4 of the wick, sometimes even half of the wick, like it did here. So you want to use confluence with a bunch of different things. I use a lot of indicators to kind of, I like confluence with a bunch of different indicators telling me that I'm doing the right thing. But I also, like to do this on cryptocurrencies that I think have good potential. So Litecoin, DOT, Doge, these are all, and SUI are probably all going to get ETFs in the next month. Litecoin for sure. I don't know the exact date for all the approvals, but a lot of these are looking to get approvals in October. So, and October, November, December are usually very good months. So I could try to hold some of these. I could close 50% of these, take some of my profits off the table, and then hold some of these to see if we get some ETFs approved. So that's kind of the plan on how I enter a bunch of entries for longs. I hope this was a useful video for you guys. This is a great way, and especially when, I want to be long right now because we're in a bull market. The next couple months are going to be, very good performers, in my opinion. Of course, history is never, it never plays out perfectly, but it usually rhymes. So I wanted to be long. I wanted to get a good entry. So I use these liquidation levels, and having the patience to wait for that to happen is good. On the 4-hour, we have a bunch of bullish divergences on stuff like Fartcoin and Litecoin. You can see when the price goes down that quickly, you print these bullish divergences, and usually the price will start coming up. And usually when you see these big spikes, you're usually at least gonna, you just cleared out all the orders here. So usually the price is going to come back up and fill, into these areas here. So you can see, like back here, we had this really big red day, and then the price eventually came and filled this all right back up. So, I could close this up at like 114 if I wanted. And again, I could use to close the orders. I could go here and say, all right, on the 3-day, we could easily get back up here to 114. There's, a couple $1 million of liquidations, but in the short term, we're at least going to get up into the 108 region. And we could even pull back down into this level. So it also is useful for setting your stop loss and your take profit. So, if I were to set a stop loss right here, it would probably get hit, or it has a higher chance of getting hit, right? Because there's still more liquidity down to the downside. So, I might close a little bit of this or all of it at 108 because they could come back and retest this, because now there's a bunch of liquidity that was created by people adding longs now at these pullbacks. So, you can see there's a lot of liquidity right here that is very attractive for market makers to take. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Have a great day, everyone. I love using this strategy. I started doing this recently, and it's just been, instead of just using only TA, which is, charts and, moving averages, etc., to trade, using the liquidation heat map has been extremely successful. This is the crime cycle, and there's lots of crime going on, like liquidating these traders, so the exchange gets to keep most of this money when they do this. So it's very attractive for them to come take all of this liquidity and then move the price the other way, right? When a lot of longs build up, they want to liquidate all those longs. We had this huge liquidation event the other day, and then now they want to move the price back up because people start going short and they want to go liquidate all those shorts. And this is all just kind of chop in the general direction, even though we're in a bull market going up in direction. They use this chop to kind of liquidate traders. They don't let you hold these trades for very long. So sometimes I like to just get in, get out, especially with leverage trading. With spot, you can also do it just to get better orders. But that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Have a great day. What do you guys think? Have you ever used this method before? And again, if you want to trade, Bitunix is my favorite exchange. I use Bitunix and Coinbase. I have affiliate links below for both, but great exchange, no KYC. You can do it from anywhere. It's KYC optional, I should say. So if you're in America and you want to use KYC, go for it. If you don't want to use KYC, you can make an account in literally 5 seconds with your email and a password and start trading, transfer some money over there. So yeah, great exchange. They have all the different options, and they list coins very quickly. So like Aster, and all of those new coins that everyone's talking about, they get them on here really quickly. I've been shorting Aster and AVNT, which is, the DEX competitors. I've talked about those, but Bitunix definitely adds these cryptocurrencies very, very quickly. They have a bunch of different ways you can trade. You can trade against your spot. You can trade using USDT, all of that good stuff. So anyways, that's it for the video. Have a great day, everyone. See you guys.